Hello and welcome to Iceland Roundup.
Yay.
In Reykjavík.
In Reykjavík, where we try to round up the last week of Icelandic news. I am Jón.
I'm Aðalsteinn.
And I am Sindri.
Hello, guys.
Yeah. Hello.
How was your weekend?
Wow, you stole my first thing to say.
I stole your opening.
Yes.
That's why we do run-throughs, so he can steal our ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Seem like they came from him.
My youngest had a birthday.
Oh, nice.
Cool. 2 years old?
2 years old, yes. My daughter. My only daughter.
Your only daughter?
Yes.
Well, you've kept her alive for 2 years. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I'm
optimistic for the future.
Yeah. My youngest
fills you with hope.
My youngest is also my only daughter. We have that in common.
Yeah. What did you do? How was your weekend?
I don't know.
The news in Iceland is so slow.
There was a lot of candy involved. I feel like
Icelandic licorice.
It's like an early start to Easter this year because of complicated family. Yeah, like I don't want to get into it.
I went Easter egg hunting with my kids.
Yeah, you did that this weekend. I almost did it this weekend as well.
With your son's friend Atlas, who's my cousin.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's wild to think about, like, you know, those years back in the day when we were, you know, rolling around drunk in here, and now I have, like, wiped your nephew's butt.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. Like, he's come over to my house and pooped in my toilet. Can you wipe my butt?
This got really specific really fast.
That's how I feel about life.
Yeah.
No, I went to Viðey. So Elding, the whale watching company, has like on Saturday.
So you're
Sunday.
pro whale watching?
I'm pro whale watching.
Okay, wow. That's a hot take.
They had an Easter egg
I go whale
hunt.
watching, but I don't look at the whales. I wear like a blindfold or look the other way.
You look at the tourists.
Yeah, it's like I watch the watchers.
Yeah,
that's my job.
Do you sort of watch them? Are you trying to guilt trip
Watch
them?
out!
Are you trying to guilt trip them?
I just think someone should be watching them.
Guilt trip them?
No, I mean it's kind of like
it's
you know, you should probably.
You're ruining the whaling industry.
I'm trying to make them feel more at home, you know, by making, you know, providing a facsimile of the fascist surveillance states they no doubt come here from.
Yeah, well, I was more thinking about like respecting the privacy of the whales.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be watching them.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think it's agreed upon in most circles now that, like, you know, they need to be given space, and like if you go to like more eco-friendly sort of ocean tour companies, they'll say like, you know, we reserve the right to cancel, you know, every day if it seems like, you know,
the whales are having a bad day.
Yeah. I went to Mexico and was asking about the potential to swim with a whale shark, and it was like only if the shark is in a good mood. And I was like, yeah, okay, I respect that. And turns out he wasn't in a very good mood the one day I had available, but...
You're talking about swimming with sharks. I would hope they are in a good mood if I'm getting in the water with them.
All right, so a whale shark is like a filter feeder, right? It's like a small whale, basically. Okay. It will barely even know you're there.
But it's not a mammal, for the records, right?
No. It is a fish.
It is a fish.
Yeah.
Even though it's called whale something.
Yeah.
So you were traveling in Mexico and someone said to you, do you want to swim with the fishes?
No, it was even dumber than that. I was in Mexico walking up to people telling them I wanted to swim with the fishes. And somehow I made it out of there alive. Not only did I make it out of there alive, but I also did some of the best snorkeling in my life.
With the fishes?
Yes.
Yeah.
In order for snorkeling to be good, there must be fishes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not entirely true. I've done some cool snorkeling, including in Lake Þingvellir, where there did not see a single fish, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I really want to try that.
But ideally, for me, the fish are sort of the point.
Yeah.
I find them very relaxing.
Is that when we went snorkeling together?
In the canyon, yeah.
Are you
20 years ago.
Are you guys always doing stuff together, excluding me?
We used to.
Yeah,
We used to be coworkers.
Now we're just wiping butts.
Yeah.
Wiping butt workers.
Yep. It's a dirty job.
But it's like fulfilling.
I think we're on topic.
No.
News topic, talking about whales.
Are you
great.
speaking into your mug?
I'm speaking into the mug.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the weather forecast.
Can we make this quick? Because I
Yes.
have important shit to talk about.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
so we've talked about this before, that last fall the outgoing Prime Minister / Minister of Fisheries, Bjarni Benediktsson, gave out a 5-year whaling permit.
Well, 5 years that like renews automatically each year.
Mm-hmm. So
So it's like indefinite
kind of
with like 5 year.
like a release thing.
Yeah.
It's
So you can-
it's easier to hunt whales in Iceland than it is to maintain a functioning copy of Pro Tools or Adobe Photoshop, it seems.
Yeah. Wow, that's really complicated.
Yeah.
It's not even possible.
You have to keep renewing it and paying more money, and like
Every
you gotta
month.
get a new computer, and it's like a whole thing.
And I guess, well, in this case, you know what happens sometimes with some of these things you subscribe to. You forget that you subscribe and you continue paying even though you're not using the software.
Yes.
I've had a whale hunting license for years. Shit, I gotta go out and kill some whales.
Which is
the fuck am I
kind
doing?
I think it's actually cheaper to have a whale hunting license in Iceland than like Adobe Creative Cloud. I
Yeah,
think.
or like a current version of Pro Tools. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. Yeah.
So it's less than $100 a month.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, nice. Maybe I should get a whaling license just to ignore the fact that I have it.
If enough people get whaling licenses and don't use them, can this then be used as an argument to like discontinue them?
Could be. The product should be cancelled because nobody's actually using it.
Yeah, and it would like cost, millions of
almost-
krona in red tape just to provide all these licenses that people aren't using.
Well,
People just throwing them at each other in the street.
But it doesn't seem to cost a lot, at least if you look at the way this
Yeah.
was managed. It was like really, well, let's just allow it.
yeah, there wasn't a lot of red tape or anything.
There was no tape.
There was no tape.
A tapeless process.
So the CEO of Whale Incorporated,
Such a great name.
which holds a whaling license.
One of the oldest like fyrirtæki, what's it?
Companies.
Companies in Iceland.
Yeah, founded in the 30s, 40s?
40s.
Not a lot of competition there.
No, a company that operates a few boats, all called Whale something, and operates out of a fjord called Whale Fjord. This is my favorite.
Yeah, imaginative.
It's so funny.
Yes.
Kristján Loftsson this weekend announced that Whale Limited would not be doing any whaling this season
In Whalefjord.
in Whale Fjord, out of Whale Fjord. I think I have.
Relocated to Squid Fjord and are now going to hunt squid exclusively.
So he said in Morgunblaðið this weekend, the price development of our products in our main market, Japan, has been unfavorable lately and is getting worse, which makes the price of our products so low that it's not justifiable to continue whale hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Kristján also added that the turmoil in the global markets due to the tariff wars does not improve the situation.
But how does it make it worse, though? Because there are no tariffs on whale products from Iceland to Japan.
I don't. I think.
But I think he's
That's
referring to like other places in the globe that he might be selling it as like a specialty item.
Or
or
he doesn't.
no, he doesn't.
doesn't?
But maybe he's referring. I mean, maybe it's just something you say because it's convenient at this moment in time.
Boy, it
But at the
seems
same time, you can
convenient,
also
yeah.
say that he's not entirely wrong because all markets are in turmoil.
Yeah, and according to their annual reports for the last 15 years, the whaling industry has had to sell its products like way below the cost of the hunting.
Yeah.
Gee, it's almost like you should take your whaling and shove it up your ass. Like I find it so hard to feel sorry for this guy.
Yeah, I mean he makes like billions of kroners because of his
Other
Because of-
business ventures, yeah. No, I was just gonna, like what I was going to try
Orphan
to
meat. What else does he do? Let me guess. It's the pension funds and the fisheries.
He used to own a large share of Iceland's biggest fishing company called, today it's called Brim.
Yeah. Used to be called HB Grandi.
HB Grandi.
Haraldur Böðarsson from Akranes.
And Grandi from Reykjavík. And he actually sold his share through Hvalur. I'm not entirely sure, but there's this guy called Guðmundur. He's the biggest shareholder and CEO of Brim. But the other biggest shareholders are the Icelandic pension funds.
Okay, it's like Kevin Bacon, right? It's like 7 degrees of the Iceland pension fund.
Well, it's 2 degrees of
yeah, it's like how quickly can you connect?
Because my idea for bringing
fund.
This up was to give a positive framing on the tariffs that they have saved the whales.
Yeah,
but as you have pointed out with your logic, that's never really going to work out. But I thought I liked the framing of it.
Yeah,
Donald Trump puts on tariffs, saves the Icelandic whales.
But you're like admittedly pro whale watching industry, so that's like you're anti-whaling.
Have I ever said that?
Yeah, I mean you can't be pro-whaling and pro-whale watching.
Oh, are you telling me I cannot have my cake and eat it?
Yes.
What?
I hate to break this to you, like I hate to come out in favor of whaling, but from my understanding of whaling, you have to see the whale before you kill it. You don't just close your eyes and blindly chuck a harpoon
what do they call that?
Direction of the spray.
What do they call that thing at the top of the mast in the boat?
The poop deck?
Where you can watch stuff. Where you're looking for stuff.
I think it's called the poop
the
deck.
nest, right? It's
the crow's nest.
The crow's nest, yeah.
I think deck is something else.
By definition, the guy who works for Whale Incorporated and in that crow's nest is a whale watcher, right?
Yeah, but would you define their hunting as whale watching?
Is he aiding and abetting the killing of whales in the same way that, say, a tourist is? The closer whale watching boats get to whales, the more it teaches the whales that they don't have to run from boats. And I think it makes it easier for whalers to kill them.
Well, it doesn't seem to be easy according to the because when they go out whaling they have to record everything and they have to allow this inspector from MAST, that's an Icelandic
health and something inspection thing.
Yeah.
Health and safety.
They always seem to be at the center of one drama or another. The MAST people. I find them very funny.
In the MAST, but they have recorded how really difficult it seems to be to hunt and kill whales. So
yeah,
I think the tourist industry is safe on that one. They're not to blame.
No, okay. Just checking.
Yeah,
just getting all the facts out.
Yeah, I think it's helpful for tourists to know exactly how complicit they're being. I feel like I got a lot of misleading information about when I've been to touristy places, some people are saying oh, this is really bad, don't do this, and then no, we're fine. And,
it's but so, if you're a tourist in Iceland, I would definitely just go to Búlan down at the harbor, eat my burger, and skip the whale watching tour.
Yeah, knowing perhaps that the owner of Búlan has been in the papers for.
Not whale watching.
Yeah, for other things, which,
Yeah, okay. Go to Kopar. It's a nice restaurant.
But, while we're on the subject, I mean, should we talk about the Búlan guy? Should he be forgiven? He asked forgiveness for his sins.
Did he?
Yeah, he was I was a young man and, or younger man and didn't know better and, said these things in privacy.
He was 70, right?
Well, yeah, younger than he is now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I was a younger man.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Are we talking about the
prostitution?
Yeah.
So yeah, he went on a sex vacation to Thailand basically, and
texted openly about it with some of his.
Yeah,
friends.
and this came out once he became a member of Parliament. An MP.
Yeah.
Well,
but he's not an MP anymore.
No.
Inga Sæland, the leader of the People's Party, she declined his continued presence on their list of candidates.
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah, we don't know why.
I would actually like to recommend.
I didn't eat there for a while after they did pretty well in like the parliamentaries before this last one. I was so pissed at them. I felt like they were stealing votes from the parties that I liked.
The burger parties.
No, I like I called them I have to create all these sort of versions of the party names for my wife to explain politics to her, just so that she can remember. Like, I used to call the People's Party the Burger Joint Party because of all that.
Yeah, but I think this, like, our listeners are owed an explanation. It's not because your wife is like limited in any way. It's because she's not a native.
Yeah, it's because there's a lot of parties, and I got into this like with I translated I translated some
just
Viking.
thought this was like important thing to know. So.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you for telling me that my wife is not an idiot.
I'm not telling you. I'm telling our like listeners.
Yeah, thanks for telling them too. Yeah. It's important.
Did I overstep the boundaries?
No. You can say whatever you want. I'm not the thought police. I'm not ICE.
I kind of like whale watching, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it. It's nice. I don't discourage it. I actually encourage it.
Yeah. I feel like it can be... The point you were trying to make, though, with sitting at Burger Joint, right, is that it can sort of be... Well, you can't really see any whales from there, can you? But I think you can... When you see whales from the shore, there's something special and magical about it. Yeah. But, like, going up there on a boat and, like, bugging them, and you're, like, waiting for them to come up, and there's some tour guide being like, the whales should be here any minute.
Yeah, and
it sort of takes the charm out of it.
It takes a long time. You're not guaranteed to see a whale. It's like...
Still pretty...
But when you do, it's like...
It's great.
Yeah.
But the odds that you do see them from Reykjavík Harbor are very high.
Yeah.
Last time I checked. But one has to remember also, if you go... I've seen them on like when there was no wind whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I know it might sound surprising, but...
That was in Iceland? No
here,
wind?
Yeah, it was incredible.
It's starting to happen more and more, I've noticed. It's bizarre. There'll be like days where there is no wind.
But what do you know? Like if like a gigantic mammal eats a lot of fish and never brushes their teeth, their breath is terrible. Which you find out if there's no wind.
Did you get so close to the whales that you smelled its breath?
Did you learn this going to school with Sigurðarson or going to parties with him?
He was more into like land-based mammals.
I see.
Yeah. Who don't eat fish.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to say about the tariffs we've got slammed with on early last week?
The 10% tariffs.
Yeah, the 10% tariffs.
I think some Icelandic people, just to like be honest about it, were a little bit disappointed that the like super tariffs on some countries were delayed. Yeah. Because Iceland always tries to find like the advantage in a horrible situation, and we had just the ground floor tariffs.
Yeah, there must have been like the EU was getting like massive tariffs, and we could have like thought, can we import stuff and make money?
Yeah.
And no, we didn't get there.
So many people here, or a select group of people here, have made so much money by monopolizing imports. So it's like there's always an opportunity for these people.
But we did talk about this last time, so we don't really have to go into it again. I was just.
But this is like an evergreen topic.
Yeah, because it still goes on. Like the horse shit continues, so we must thereby continue to some extent.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, this Friday, the Icelandic Minister of Foreign Affairs, like on this topic, Þorgerður Katrín, met with the EU's Kaja Kallas, which is, and I looked this up, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrius Kubilisu, European Commissioner for Defense and Space.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
This is already a meeting I would love to have been in.
And this was like to formally open a discussion between Iceland and the EU on defense and security cooperation.
In space. I mean, we have
we will be firing our whales into space.
We have a space agency, right?
Yeah.
The Icelandic Space Agency.
Isn't that
Aren't
like
those
a
the
private
lunatics who
thing.
tried to get abducted by aliens on top of the glacier? Are you talking about those people?
I'm not sure that overlaps, but possibly.
Is this a Bjarnason thing?
No, this
this
is like a
is
private
like-
thing.
It's like a real thing.
Like I think it's been around for a while, and I was kind of sad that it got created without my sort of interference
Without
in it.
you're being put in charge
No,
of it?
because I had like for the longest time, me and another friend had the idea of opening something called the Icelandic Space Agency, with the sole purpose of like obviously having like a
renting out storage space.
no, having like an email account with that thing on
Oh
it.
yeah.
But the other thing was like to introduce like a space suit for the Icelandic Space Agency, which would be like
Lopapesa.
no. It would be based on the Mercury program spacesuits, like these very futuristic sort of aluminum-looking early '60s stuff. Because I think since that point, like spacesuits aesthetically have just been going downhill.
Yeah, definitely. And you could
Come on,
there's a
I
chance to
love
partner
the
with like one of the
spacesuits.
aluminum smelters in Iceland.
Definitely, they're always looking for.
Always a pro to be able to work with those fabulous people.
You can't without aluminum. You can't get into space.
Oh, you can't.
I don't think you can.
No.
I think you need aluminum to get to space.
Yeah,
Why?
it is like a wonder material. A lot of people don't realize like how incredible it is that like
The space material.
that metal can be worked into such a thing. And,
But anyway, so that's started. But also the weekend, our dear friend Baldur Þórhallsson, professor of political science, pointed out that we might not necessarily even have a say in whether or not we cooperate defense-wise with Europe. Did you notice this?
oh, gee, how many degrees do you need before you can safely say that Iceland will have no effect on anyone else's foreign policy?
No, but we have to like adopt it automatically.
We have to pick another policy to just make our own.
No, we can't make our own, basically.
Yeah.
We've ceded the right to do that. It seems.
Yeah.
To some extent. Well, anyway, you know,
Anyway.
we're trying to move towards Europe.
Yeah.
Or yeah,
I guess the other question is like, how helpful is it?
to move to Europe.
No.
It depends. If you're into like cheap beer and prostitutes.
We are in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but are we really in Europe?
I mean, geographically, we're in North America. If we're in this corner of the country,
Right.
you got to go to the other side of the canyon.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
our capital is in North America.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of.
From a geological perspective.
This is.
I think we should just like lean heavily into that.
I feel
We
like
should just go and stand on the other side of the country until we sort of drift.
I mean, the population is like
more or less living in North America.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Do you think, guys, if
because I
if
have
we
a
had
dream, guys.
if we have been like kind of like Korea or Germany after the Second World War, do you think that it would have been like an East and West Iceland, and it would have been sort of
I'm still thinking about what his dream is. I don't want to know, but I do kind of want to know. Like, I don't want to know, but I want you to say it into the mic.
okay? We can just.
I'm sorry, Yundi. You were saying about partitioning Iceland.
I was just
into
wondering if we.
political
I have
entities.
dreams, guys.
You have dreams.
Yeah, one in particular though.
Do you want to share it?
No.
Oh. No, I was just pondering whether or not it would have made sense to divide Iceland on that fissure line or whatever you call it between East and West.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have mattered even a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have. That's where they would have drawn the line.
But the East would have like won. Basically.
Yeah, because they have the Lagerfljótsormur.
They have the livelihoods. No, I'm talking if you would like divide the country, it's like the South Shore is like the only place you can grow things and
Mhm.
have like agriculture. On the east side, and basically on the east side you have like these like really nice fishing grounds
Mm-hmm.
outside the shore. I mean, you don't have anything like this. You cannot have any animals, farm animals on the west side of the
Well,
country.
I mean,
basically.
the line, like if this would be this line, it would kind of go through.
We have
so
the
you would,
farm animal zoo.
I think you would have like Akureyri and like Skagafjörður on the.
Oh, you have Skagafjörður?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it would be fine.
Yeah, okay.
There would be some upsides to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, would like that chunk of the country up in the north where it sort of splits, would that be like its own little enclave? owned by Kaupfélagsskapfirðinga.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
probably.
Yeah.
And the pension funds.
Yeah. At least we'd be rid of them. They could just go have their own country.
I'm gonna look at the map.
We'll be left to starve here.
I think the line kind of goes through, ends up in Skjálfandaflói in the north, next to Húsavík.
Mm.
So Húsavík would be on the east side. It would be Soviet.
Soviet
Húsavík, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, okay. Okay, the west side. They would have won. Yeah.
They did win.
It's further, yeah, the line is further east than I remember it being.
I have a couple of news stories.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it
I
is.
could stare at it forever.
I have a couple of news stories from this week that I kind of enjoyed. One was that on Thursday night, somebody in Kópavogur reported his car stolen. And then
Sorry.
and then subsequently found it. He just
Take the opportunity to issue a public apology.
he'd forgotten where he parked it, and I was like, I related heavily to that.
Yeah, but why is the police like emailing every news media
outlet to
This
shame
story.
somebody for
Yeah,
for their mild Alzheimer's?
To distract people from the copious amounts of drugs they aren't seizing, probably.
Yeah, but we don't know about the drugs they're not seizing, so.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, but
you
how
know?
can we be like thinking about something we don't know?
This is kind of a big topic. I mean, I'll go there if you want to.
You guys,
Is it one of those like don't think about elephants kind of thing?
Yeah, but yeah.
do you guys ever? Does this ever happen to you guys?
lose my car?
Yeah.
Yeah, frequently.
Yeah.
Like
I never
twice
think
last
about
week,
elephants.
but I never call the police.
No. I know I've lost the car. It happens so often. I don't think it's been stolen.
Sometimes when I'm like really drunk alone at home, it starts occurring to me to start calling.
The police.
No, well, other people to help solve my problems.
My car has been
and
stolen.
and like I wonder if if I would just get drunk and bored enough, maybe I would call the police to ask, like, can I do something about my neighbor?
What are the limits on what I can do?
Yeah,
to my neighbor?
just lay it down for me. Like, what can or can't I do here?
Yeah, definitely. But I frequently go home and leave my car downtown, and then I go searching for the car I didn't bring to work.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that doesn't necessarily. Okay, maybe that sometimes happens to me.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is that if I'm talking on the phone while parking the car, I know I want to remember where I parked the car.
Yeah.
I just cannot do two things at the same time.
But maybe you should like say it out loud to the person you're talking to.
I've thought about that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I feel like explaining things to people is never worth my time.
I have a lot of good ideas. You just need to listen to me.
I know.
And I have dreams.
I want to hear more. The other news from this week that I enjoyed was the attempt to.
You only enjoyed two pieces of
only
news.
two pieces of news that I really enjoyed. The other one was the ATM somebody tried to blow up.
It's like for the fourth time or something.
In Hafnarfjörður. Yeah. And it was just so. Are
you familiar with the building that the ATM is housed like?
Is it down by? It's in the Hafnarstræti, whatever it's called, right? It's down by the.
It's close to the harbor in Harborfjord.
Yeah, right.
But it's in the same house as the district court of southwest of Iceland. So it's like there's always police presence there.
There's a chance when it ends up in court that they'll be able to like see it out the window. Yeah. It's like Exhibit B. You can see by the lack of damage done by my client that he should clearly be let go.
Yeah, if the police is, let's go downstairs.
So I'm going to go and withdraw some money now, and
the ATM works perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, because this is not the first time somebody tries to rob that ATM. I don't know if they miscalculated the amount of explosives they needed or something, but
I think a lot of things went wrong in the
perhaps
planning of this.
The funding needed for better explosives was inside the ATM, you see. So it's like it creates like a catch-22.
Last time
you can't get it's probably the only thing you can't get a payday loan for.
Yeah.
Explosives,
yeah.
No, like I'll repay the payday loan with this big payday coming up.
So nobody knows if it's the same person, but like in December, somebody took a stolen car, rammed it into the building, and tried to hook it up to the car and drive and sort of like pull the ATM out of the building.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that also...
The bumper came off?
Yeah, something like it failed miserably. So it's a very...
But we have like, there are a few crimes that are committed like frequently, the same crime again and again, like with this ATM. There's this neighbor dispute in Kópavogur, because we were talking about Kópavogur and cars.
Oh, yeah, the car, yeah.
It's like, it happens few times a year. Someone like climbs up onto the hood of a car and takes a dump.
Yeah.
It's always the same car. There's always this masked perpetrator. It's like...
Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, we have talked about it.
I think we have talked about it, yeah.
I mean, this is
you
like
had, like, the last time we talked about it,
hero.
You had inside information because...
the Kópavogur pooper.
Yeah, one of your coworkers had like security camera, security camera footage of the perpetrator,
like putting on his mask.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, sorry.
People really tend to be like. I mean, I kind of respect when people hold grudges to an extent where they actually show up time and time again to do something.
Yeah, I mean, this is something Iceland has a long and proud history of. Is like holding small, ridiculous grudges. It's what our sagas are based on, essentially, just like very petty grudges. That
someone has a grudge against this particular ATM.
I mean, they got all my money. Yeah, it's harsh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I look forward to seeing more news about that ATM. There was another story.
It might be the same guy.
I would suspect it's the same guy, right? Yeah. He's got a thing against that ATM.
I'm talking about the same guy, like
the
Kópavogur pooper.
It's a small country. Yeah. It's definitely possible. So
yeah, I mean, I think if he really wanted to do some damage, he would consider, blowing up the car and pooping into the ATM. I feel like those might yield better results. But I know that he's not trying to make a statement against the banks, but I mean, somebody should be shitting all over these ATMs. It's like 300 krona for a withdrawal? Like, are you fucking with me?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you...
I am the poop... No, wait. I am the bomber? No, I don't want to say that.
The poopa bomber?
The poopa bomber. That is me.
And also, what do you use the ATM money for? If you list...
Explosives. Laxatives.
You list the things, it's like...
a nicer car than my neighbor.
No, I mean, if you... not if you're trying to blow it up or poop into it. Like, if you actually withdraw money from an ATM at this point in Iceland. For what?
Drugs.
Yeah. Drugs? I mean, are we even trying to hide that?
And at this point, like at this time of year, it would be like for people who are attending confirmations, so you have to give money to the kids for being confirmed.
The confirmation children are like saving the Icelandic drug industry.
Yeah, by funneling that money straight back into it when...
Yeah, it's beautiful, really. It's either one way or another, that money is ending up in dealer hands. Because I mean, and this is a pertinent issue because there is like something going... They're trying to stop cash from being a thing, right? There's people...
But then you have like this ATM in Borgartún, which is like the Icelandic financial district.
Yeah.
There you can go into the bank and withdraw 500,000 Icelandic kroner in like... one withdrawal.
Yeah, and like none of those assholes are cool enough to be doing drugs. I think they're probably just taking that cash to restaurants so they can flash it around.
I have a more
pay the plumber.
Pay the plumber is most more likely.
Literally.
Yeah.
A plumber.
Yeah.
So that's how you pay the plumber.
Yep.
I think that's what you usually do. If you want a plumber to show up, it's better to pay him.
Duly noted. I was referring to the fact that they were paying in cash.
I mean, you, Aðalsteinn, are studying to be a carpenter.
Yeah,
which is just, which is, I mean, it's for the black economy, right? You're wanting to get your hands on that. I really want to
join the black economy.
You want to get your hands on that cash.
That's the dream I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I want some cash. No, it's just like it's so difficult to get a carpenter in Iceland or a plumber or an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to just study it myself so I can maintain the house I live in.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And also build a summer cottage on the land of your ancestors, Jóndi.
Yeah. Good old Eyvindatunga. Yeah, there are connections everywhere.
Yeah.
My wife and Jóndi are related.
We're cousins.
Okay.
And we didn't know that until like recently. When I met his mother at the school playground during the summer festival, because our kids, it turns out, go to the same school.
Yeah. This is Iceland in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, and we could just add flavor to this. Also, Aðalsteinn's father and my mother went to the same school for 4 years. Same boarding school in the 70s.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Was this too much information?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It also it just demonstrates the size of this country.
It depends on how you define information. I mean, you know.
Really?
It's,
you don't believe this was information?
Well,
not useful necessarily, but information nonetheless.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Does
like
information have to be useful?
I mean, you've seen the internet, right? It's basically information. Very little of it useful.
Yeah, again, it depends on your definition of information.
Yeah,
Speaking of the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we now segue into what I want to talk about?
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
Please.
Finally.
Finally, after like 12 episodes.
All right. So
Oh, this is your password.
I have gotten into
the internet.
things. Yeah, I've gotten really into the internet lately, and it fucking sucks. So I just want to tear it a new one on our show. No, I've gotten.
This is broadcast over the internet, but okay.
Yeah. Fuck you, internet. Enjoy this broadcast. Yeah, I've gotten for several times. I've gotten into this thing where foreigners love to think that we jailed all the people responsible for the 2008 financial collapse, and I don't exactly think this is true, but I'm not well enough informed to like lay it out, and so on Blue Sky 5 days ago, someone called Kendra said that every day I think about the fact that Iceland jailed the people responsible for their financial crisis. And I jumped right in there and said they absolutely did not, but did not provide any other backup, just expecting people to do the research themselves. And to my utter amazement, this comment has received 4 likes since I made it, which is more activity than anything I've done on Blue Sky before or since. And I felt obligated to come here and try to fact check this statement a little bit with you guys. Because I know that some people did get sentences for something, but it wasn't a lot of them. It wasn't a heavy sentence, and I definitely don't think they were the ones, quote unquote, responsible for the financial crisis.
I think if you ask them, they would say it was heavy sentencing.
What was the sentencing?
Some people actually got a few years in jail.
Yeah.
Not like a maximum security jail or something.
No, like
a country jail.
Country jail, hobby jail.
Which jail?
Kvíabrygga.
Kvíabrygga, yeah.
It's in the west of Iceland.
But it's like
it's lovely there.
It's a real jail. It's low security. You're free to roam around during the day. You have to stay there during the night. There's some limits on the activities you can do, but it was like it made the news when one of the jailed bankers, a former large shareholder of Kaupþing Banki, actually got into a helicopter accident while serving his sentence.
Wait, was this Hreiðar Már?
No, this was Ólafur Ólafsson.
Oh yes, Ólafur Ólafsson, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he survived, like pretty much
intact. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, a helicopter.
He
accident.
lived to see helicopter rides in the future.
Yeah, and actually, now there's this thing going on that they're like overturning previous convictions because of some technicalities.
These convictions, like
not
these ones. No,
some of the bankers who got convicted.
One particular one. And this is, as much as I remembering all of these things a while back, I now have more or less forgotten all of those names and particulars. I don't know if you're better at this than I am, but it's been 15 years, and it's just.
Yeah, it's still going on.
Yeah, it's still going on, but you kind of lost track because
in a bit.
It's hard to care very much.
But
one of them got the conviction overturned, and I think it was one of those cases where they were using kind of a weird part of the penal code, which refers to what is it called again? Not scamming. What's the legal term?
Scat.
Are you talking about markaðsmisnotkun?
Yeah,
insider trading.
No, it's like where you manipulate the market in a way that benefits you. It's like you.
Isn't that insider trading?
With there's even a flimsier one
Stock
where you manipulate stuff, and it doesn't necessarily benefit you, but it benefits somebody else.
Yeah,
that's one of the things people were getting sentenced for, and I vaguely remember that particular part of the law.
But we did, because we can be prepared next time. And
we can look at this.
Really go into it, because this is an interesting topic and a frequent misunderstanding in the international community.
So you agree it is a misunderstanding?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking for, because I feel like this was, But
we had another interesting thing happened regarding people going to jail for financial stuff this week. The former fish exporter who was exposed in the Panama Papers got a 3 years sentence
and a pretty massive fine,
2 billion Icelandic kronur fine,
which is pretty that's an unusual amount of money for a fine from an Icelandic court.
For what exactly? Just for having offshore accounts?
No, for not paying taxes.
For not paying taxes.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
For using those accounts.
To
unusually
taxes.
to not pay taxes.
And of course, there is another particular gentleman who famously also, was trying to get out of taxes. And where is he today? He is in Parliament, right?
Yeah.
Are you talking, or the President of the United States? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, 601.
Yeah.
Colleagues.
Yeah.
Leaders of their countries.
Buddies.
Yeah, so the most famous Icelander in the Panama Papers used to be Prime Minister and is still a member of Parliament.
Yeah. So and I mean, we want to say, going back to the other part of that, what do they call them on Blue Sky? I seriously think they call them skeets.
Skeets?
Instead of tweets.
What?
Skeets?
Yeah, which I think is sort of a wasted opportunity, because I get it. You're trying to blue sky, blue.
What about just calling it
skeets?
clouds?
I would have called them bleats, because BL, if the blue sky, bull, and bleat like a sheep. I don't know. Sorry, in the middle of the night, I thought that was really funny.
I would call them stars.
Stars in the blue sky.
Yeah.
But going back to the other part of that sort of, erroneous bleat or star. Are these people who were jailed really the ones responsible for the financial? Who was responsible for the financial crisis? Wasn't it leaders of government, really?
It depends. We actually, the former Prime Minister of Iceland, Geir Haarde, was convicted of neglect in a special court.
Like a constitutional court we have that we've only, I think, ever used for that particular court.
And he didn't go to jail.
No.
I would have heard of that.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to, his supporter, and he has a wide support, mainly from the historical right in Iceland. They completely dismiss the fact that he was convicted for this.
Yeah, I mean,
you get it. You're a lawyer.
I kind of get it in a way, because the thing is, they are.
And you're also a former police officer, so you're really into.
I'm into the political right. You're saying?
Show me your tattoos right now. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I have no blue lines.
Yeah.
It's like a thin blue line.
No, I kind of get it in a way, because it's neglect for I think, not holding specific meetings or something like that. In
other words,
as a prime
doing
minister.
his job. Yeah.
Well, I mean, or not conveying specific information or something. I think generally, though, if you look at the political atmosphere of those years, even if you were in power in 2006-07, 2006 specifically, where we had this sort of mini, was it called the mini crisis?
Yeah.
Like a funding crisis for the banks during the summer of 2006.
Yeah.
Which, even if you had kind of seen the writing of on the wall, which I don't think these people did, good luck with trying to change policy with and sort of trying to change the tone and the sort of stemning or the sort of atmosphere in Iceland at that time.
But that's their responsibility.
It is.
I mean,
It is their responsibility.
Literally their job.
It's literally their job. But at also the same time, you kind of, as a politician, you're kind of reflecting on the mood. You're kind of, you tend to be more of a listener to the mood than a trendsetter of the mood, right? At least in modern politics.
Yeah.
So I kind of get the whole thing where it's really difficult to like change the course.
But then you have to change the rules that apply.
Yeah, and that's difficult too. I mean,
well, I think to an extent, like it's not necessarily the rules. I think it's more or less like what kind of people do we.
No, I mean, if you're not going to do your job, you have to change the job description.
Yeah, I mean, in a good, perfect environment, like
politicians
should be brave visionaries who are willing to take political risks for the greater good. But
should be.
We see precious little of that.
Goes to show how far-fetched this ideal that people have of Iceland is, that we are the kind of place that does that, and we are just not that place.
I
think the inference is that it changed things for the better somehow, that these people were jailed, and it fucking didn't. Like, the same shit still goes on here. Worse in some ways.
What I'm kind of saying here, Aðalsteinn, is not that I don't think... what I'm saying mostly is that I don't disagree with how it works or how it has worked or still works. It's just kind of the way it is, to an extent. I kind of understand why these people just haven't.
Yeah, writing for the source. Yeah. You should be very familiar with.
Would you expect maybe things have changed now, but
no, I don't think so.
No, maybe not. Probably not. Do people take massive political risks on sort of?
No, but there are a few things that could have been done to ease the
hit.
The hit.
Yes.
And it's like one thing that could have been done is like pressure the Landsbanki to move their iSafe accounts
into a branch.
Not
like a complex thing.
Kaupthing did. We have like Kaupthing had their like
Edge
savings accounts that were in like local branches. So I mean that
there were I think there were numerous things that could have been,
and it's like it wouldn't have like dampened the mood of people by doing these things. And also like we had like Minister of not finance but Minister of, it's like we had an viðskipta og efnahagsráðherra.
Minister of Business and Economics
or something like that. Yeah. Who like was like in charge of the banking sector. It's like that guy was pretty much excluded from all the information that the other members of government had.
Yeah, he was kept out for what seems to have been reasons of competence on. That was one of the. Do you remember?
Yeah,
this?
I mean, you can have some reasons for it. But
but you shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't do it.
Also, you shouldn't.
Things like this, and that would have had no effect on the great mood of the Icelandic people.
No, I agree with that too.
So yeah.
No, I know. Generally, like if you're talking about this not in terms of like, explicit political discourse or talk in a sense. If you're talking about this at the level of sort of institutional accountability, institutional sort of preparedness, institutional know-how, skills, any of those things, they all failed miserably too.
Yeah.
And I don't think, that is not necessarily only because of failure in the political leadership. That's also just kind of like a demonstration in how our institutional integrity is kind of low and has never really been strong.
Yeah, true.
And if you think about how the Icelandic banking system was privatized and how we sort of A, went around doing it, and then B, went around like keeping tabs on that institutionally, like from the perspective of the central bank or the ministries. It was just like a...
But this
it was just like rich, entitled jerks handing out favors to each other and not really considering that there would be anything to stop that from happening.
And I think it was probably considered to be an absolutely mad thing to do by people who knew anything about fiscal policy or central banks or something in other countries.
But fortunately, we do not know anything about fiscal policy and how to run banks, basically. At the time, we had no... Like, the investors in the banks had no, history of being in the banking industry. No. It was just like, we had Björgólfur Thor coming with his father from Russia, where they had been, they had a bottling factory?
Yeah, they were bottling beer.
Yeah.
Heinis or something, I don't know.
Heineken?
Yeah.
Or something, yeah. They came, they bought a bank.
Yeah.
Then we had
they just kind of make up their own rules for what to do with that bank.
Yeah, and it's it's really difficult because in this, we jailed the bankers. People responsible for the collapse were jailed. It's so difficult to say, yeah, this group of people caused this, because pretty much everyone involved didn't do their job.
No. Yeah. I think it's important to disabuse people like Kendra from Blue Sky of the notion that there is any place on Earth that is exempt. We are all Kendra here.
Yeah.
But this notion that there is any place on Earth that is exempt from just greed and the flow of money.
I think
nowhere in the world is it so that money doesn't talk and bullshit doesn't walk is sort of what I'm saying.
But just to be fair, we jailed some bankers, not
which
the
is
three of us.
In Kendra's defense is probably more than a lot of countries did.
A lot more than the United States did, I think.
But it also was because of really specific business dealings, loans, some guarantees, some wrong information that was put out there to affect
the markets.
Yeah. So it was really specific things, and some of these things were only done in that time period where the banks were failing.
Classic. That's where the bad things usually happen.
So it wasn't really causing the collapse, but it's the
the scramble when the collapse was happening.
Yeah.
People
to
trying
not
to save,
be the person holding the fucking...
to not be the last person standing in the musical cheer game.
Yeah.
That was when people were committing...
Basically.
So basically the people that were jailed were the ones who just,
it turns out that a lot of them were there at the beginning. The previous mentioned Ólafur Ólafsson, whose helicopter crashed while he was in jail. He was kind of responsible for...
If you're watching this, Kendra, this is an example of what jail was like for these people.
He managed
to crash a helicopter while he was in jail.
He managed to sort of facilitate that a group of people bought one of those old Icelandic banks from the government in 2003.
Yeah.
That was called Búnaðarbanki, which is now Kaupþing, and was called something else in between.
Kaupjabanki.
Kaupjabanki.
Now Arionbanki. This is my bank. I've followed
and
it through he
managed to do it. He managed to do it through what is essentially a scam.
Yeah.
So one of the rules that had been laid out by the government for selling that bank was that it had to be bought by, partly at least, a foreign bank. So they got a German bank he got a German bank to kind of pretend that bank was participating in buying the Icelandic bank, which was not true or correct. So he, anyway, and from that old bank, that was a bank linked to the Progressive Party in the 70s, 80s, whatever. And there, immediately after that bank was bought, a lot of new people came into that bank to run it. Some of them subsequently went to jail, Hreiðar. They were young. They were in their late 20s, early 30s. Real and all of those older sort of more conservative bankers that came with that bank when it was bought, they soon after that left. So, there was sometimes some institutional sort of knowledge about how you should properly run a bank.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not what we were doing then.
Yeah, they just sort of quietly dropped into the background.
Yeah, and then on that topic of Ólafur Ólafsson, who scammed his way into this bank, he then owned Samskip, the other big shipping company that ships stuff to Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And just after or during the collapse of the banking sector here, he and the economy, he was colluding with the other big shipping company about raising their prices on all imports.
Yeah.
So there's a theme here, is what I'm saying.
A thin blue line.
A thin blue line that he likes to walk on. Should we call it quits now?
Yeah, thank you for indulging me, and yeah, if you want to come with research the next time,
I'm gonna do some
appreciate it.
Not research, but try to remember. I will go into thinking mode, and next time.
That's all I really ask. Yeah. I wouldn't ask you to actually do any real work for this podcast. That would be kind of disingenuous.
Yes,
that would just be plain wrong to do.
Should we mention, for the benefit of that one person who cares, what music we've been listening to?
Yeah. What have you been listening to?
Oh, shit. Let me just get out my phone for the second time on this podcast. It's always a good sign that you're watching something good if, a person on it has to get out their phone twice. I've been listening to this dark ambient thing called Paleo Wolf sometimes. I've been trying to get into dark ambient, and it's cool, but this guy likes to add a lot of, movie sound effects to it as well, which I'm not totally sure about. I listened to the Neil Young album from 2015 for the first time.
Prairie something?
No, the Monsanto years. And I was just thinking about how Neil Young has kind of become this
old man.
Yeah, this kind of stoned old drunk who seems like he likes to yell at people a lot and doesn't really focus on making well-rounded or polished music. But I kind of think that's a good thing, that's sort of where he ended up. We kind of need someone like that. And I'm really into dub. I listened to some Mad Professor as well over the weekend. That was good.
Oh, so you don't listen to music at all, do you?
Nope. So I'm really hoping this,
Yeah, I tend to listen to music in the car with my kids, where they control the playlist, and currently I'm still listening to the songs that competed for the Eurovision seat.
You're listening to Vibe.
I'm listening to Vibe.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that these years are in my near future. Right now, my son is into this. Well, I'm not going to even dignify it with talking about it.
No.
Because it's just, I hate it so much.
The only song I remember listening to this week is I'm a Coconut, which is I don't know what it is, but my son found it on Spotify. He's 5 years old.
I also heard
that's my contribution to this music section of
I'm a Coconut.
Yeah.
I also heard some of the new Minecraft movie songs with Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
This is it this week. Thanks for listening or watching.
Yeah.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.